Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. Jobs report came out for July, 900,000 jobs. Fantastic, very good. Joe Biden jumps on TV right away saying how great he is and how his economic recovery plan has really produced results. Um, Joe Biden, uh, opportunist, uh, going on TV, like all politicians, talking head, talking trash. Uh, no mention, by the way, of the fact that recurring claims in states who eliminated the federal unemployment additional benefit to the state benefit. No mention that those states, much contrary to what was being reported earlier in the week by CNBC specifically, and especially Steve Leisman, who came out and said there was no evidence that the discontinuation of the federal unemployment benefit would have any impact on hiring, and that was after the ADP report came out, which was undershot by about 50%. No mention of the fact that in the states, and this report, the states that gave up or refused the federal unemployment in July, those states had made huge advances in the recurring claims field. So, again, we have the politics taking over, we have the politics talking trash, and we have um, the politicians on the left continuing to clamor for need to continue to fuel and pump money into this economy where it is absolutely not needed. Tapering needs to start. The asset purchases that the Fed is undertaking need to go away now, and the economy needs to be allowed to move out on its own, which means that 3.5 trillion package that the Democrats are threatening to pass for social infrastructure by reconciliation, not a bipartisan effort, but just ram it down the throats of the United States. That is not necessary for the economy. That is not necessary for the population. Now, it is necessary for the politicians to get that money. And we discussed that yesterday. They need to continually replenish, and they need, especially now, to expedite the replenishing of the feeding trough, because they know with the debt that they have put this country into, the future looks shaky, and they want to make sure that they can get their part now up front in advance, financed on your credit card at a very high rate of interest. So that's what the aim is for this. Um, the Daily Business Review here in Miami, I read an article that was written, and they're saying how the GDP growth under Trump, how abysmal it was. Let me clarify something for as far as that article is concerned, and it's trash. The article. Um, Give Trump the first 6 months of 2021. Put that into his GDP, because that was his GDP. It's just that the pandemic killed 2020. So even if you don't give him what was happening in 2020, the loss that occurred in 2020, just give him the recovery in the first 6 months of 2021, which there's no way the Democrats or Biden can lay claim to that recovery. If you give him that, Trump's GDP numbers are well ahead of Obama's GDP numbers and well ahead of most presidents' GDP numbers, okay? And when you consider population growth during presidency, since they've been keeping GDP growth, when Trump's was probably the lowest we've had, his GDP growth, I'll put it up against just about anyone's GDP growth, okay? Just about anyone's, because some of the leaders on GDP were in an era where the United States population was rapidly growing, which he is a huge factor on GDP. So we have that to consider, and it's how it's manipulated, how the reports are manipulated in order to try to continually throw shade, trying to discredit Donald Trump. You have vaccines, Joe Biden, that you're pushing and you're paying people to take because of Donald Trump. That's why you have a vaccine, okay? The vaccine is your only claim to anything. Your platform is that you're getting people vaccinated. How great you are for getting people vaccinated, Joe Biden. Well, guess what? Donald Trump gave you that weapon. He gave you that vaccine. Because under the status quo of what this country was to approve drugs before Donald Trump decided to undertake the vaccine, the obtaining of vaccines, we still would be waiting for a vaccine, for the FDA to approve a vaccine. Donald Trump is the reason that Joe Biden can be paying people to get vaccinated, because Donald Trump created the vaccine. His efforts created the vaccine. The mandate, the turning around by Joe Biden, the 1 month relief of the moratorium on evictions continues to be front and center, and it is completely against the law. It is unconstitutional. The Supreme Court has said as much, and yet this continues. And it's all acknowledged by the administration that all they're trying to do is squeeze in 2, 3, 4 weeks of additional giveaway of money, vote buying. The situation is being abused by many. They have plenty of money, like we said yesterday. People's savings accounts are through the roof, yet they don't pay their rent. They don't pay their rent. I think that we need to understand that the person receiving the rent probably has a mortgage. And more importantly, and something I touched on yesterday, I can look at it as specifically a situation that I have. I have a property in the Keys, and it's not anywhere in this situation. My tenants are great. It's not that I'm not getting paid. I am getting paid. But what I'm saying is, let's suppose that I had a tenant in a property. I think of my situation. Let's say I want the property back. I was counting on getting it back in June because I want to use it, or I need a family member to use it, or whatever. And this moratorium is in place now, and it says you can't evict anyone. Why? The government has taken it upon themselves with this mandate, okay? And now especially with this extension, which the Supreme Court has said is unconstitutional, has taken it upon themselves to take away ownership rights, property ownership rights of people who have worked hard, paid their taxes, and invested their money to buy real estate. And they are limiting their rights on that real estate. Why? There should be restitution for that. The Democrats and the liberals and the left talk so much about restitution. There should be restitution. If I don't have my property on time when I was counting on it, and I lose 6 months of occupancy that I want to use it for, I should be able to claim that. And I should be able to claim whatever else I want I've been damaged by this unconstitutional extension, at least the extension period of the moratorium. And I think it should be the entire eviction moratorium period, because there was absolutely no reason for that eviction moratorium after the first 6 months. I know in Dade County, and I'm in this business, I can tell you before the pandemic, there were a lot of houses in pre-foreclosure, many, many homes. And I've read different statistics, depending on different parts of Miami-Dade County, that up to 1 in 10 homes was in pre-foreclosure before the pandemic. Up to 1 in 10 homes was in pre-foreclosure. So this pandemic, by many, not all, there's some people that really needed the help, but by many, has been used to basically live rent-free for 18 to 24 months. That's what this has been used for. It's got to end. It's got to end, because the people who are not getting the rent have rights. And they have rights as property owners, as citizens, as taxpayers. They have the same rights as those people that are being protected. And there should be at least, at the very minimum, okay, a test. Just like they want to put in a test of who needs Social Security and who doesn't, there should be a test of who gets this aid. And I guarantee you that no matter what's in place, it's being misappropriated, misspent, and misallocated. Okay. Hopefully we made a little headway with this with you guys and put our point out there. Last couple of programs have really been harping on these points, and I think it's important that I continue to do so, because I think it's important that we understand that every single penny that's being used by these politicians today, and that is being threatened to be used in the future for your good, is not for your good. It's to your detriment. It's on your credit card at a very high rate of interest, and they're getting it. They're getting the cash up front. They are taking the cash. You are paying for it. Think about it. Thank you.